Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares. Welcome to another episode of Anything But Horror. Now, this is where I continue to explore other genres of film, some of my all-time favorites, and what got me into film in the first place. Now, this week, I'm going to be looking at one of my favorite movies of all time, Night Shift. And no, not the Stephen King Night Shift, which I am also quite fond of. Night Shift is a 1982 film which runs 106 minutes and is directed by Ron Howard. Most people don't know that. Now, this is written by Babaloo Mandel. Why is that important? Because growing up, I had a buddy of mine that I used to go to school with, that I knew for years, whose family actually knew Babaloo Mandel, which I thought was really cool. Now, this stars Henry Winkler, Shelley Long, Michael Keaton, and, just for story's sake, the late Vincent Schiavelli. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Now, unfortunately, he passed on December 26, 2005 at the age of 57. Most people would probably know him from being Dr. Fargus from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is also one of my favorites, and likely to make an appearance on this series. Now, why is that important? Because my uncle, or my wife's uncle actually, which is my uncle too, Uncle Richie, who was a mentor to me, a musical mentor, who passed away late last year, he actually grew up with him in Brooklyn. So every time I see him, I think of my Uncle Richie, and when it used to bring me pleasure, now it kind of is a melancholy and sad reminder. So sorry for bringing you guys down, but yeah. Now, this actually won a Golden Globe, which I was really surprised at. It was Henry Winkler as Best Actor in a Motion Picture. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, story time. I go way back with this movie, back almost as far as I can remember. This was one of the first rated R movies that I watched or was allowed to see by my parents. Why? I actually cannot remember. But I was born in 71, and we had video discs, which are RCA CED video discs. Now, I talked a little bit about this on the Slash Brothers last Friday, how when we got a VCR, we had already had a video disc machine, and unfortunately, when we got the VCR, the video disc machine's days were numbered. So it was kind of like the next best thing. But my father and I used to copy movies all the time, which of course is illegal, but we never distributed them or took money for showing them, so I guess it's not illegal. We just kept them for our own private use. Now, in order to learn how to do this, my father actually hooked up the video disc machine to the VCR, and in order to learn how to record, we had this on video disc, and this was the very first movie that we taped onto a videotape, which I believe I still have downstairs. Now, CED video discs, of course, were prone to skipping, as I'm sure everyone who owns one knows. We actually had to take Stir Crazy, Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder Stir Crazy, back 3 times because there was a bad batch, and in the first part of the movie, because you used to have to switch the discs over like a laser disc, there was a notorious skip in it. So we had to take it back like 3 times. It was a very primitive form of movie watching, but it was still there. But anyway, long story short, in order to figure out how to record onto VHS and really go to the next step in our movie watching history, my father taped Night Shift, and he taped Raiders of the Lost Ark, which we also had on CED video disc, on the same videotape. Now, a little bit of a synopsis on the movie. If you've never seen this one, I highly recommend it because it is a really great comedy. You have Henry Winkler, who plays Chuck Lumley. He is the daytime guy in a morgue. And he's a very meek, mild, very timid sort of person, which is really different because the only thing I'd ever seen him in before that was Happy Days, where he plays the Fonz, which is a completely opposite character of what he plays in this. Now, he works in the morgue where a pimp comes in that has just been killed by a rival, by people who he didn't pay money to or something like that in the neighborhood. So that's where he meets Shelley Long, who also happens to live in the same apartment building that he does, because she is the dead pimp's hooker. So after getting to know her and befriending her, they decide to become pimps and run a brothel out of the morgue because he has to go on night shift because he's passed over for a promotion or just passed over in general. So this is actually really a funny, it's a funny comedy. Clint Howard is also in this, of course, Ron Howard's brother, who plays, I'm trying to think of who he plays in this. He plays like a high school kid who's already losing his hair, because anybody who's seen Clint Howard knows that he's went bald kind of early in his life. But yeah, this is just it's a really good movie. I've always loved it. It's lighthearted, but it deals with a very mature subject matter. But it does it in a way that is, like I said, lighthearted. I definitely recommend this. If you have never seen this movie, you are doing yourself a disservice, because it is just a fun movie. The characters are likable, and it's written it's very cleverly written. So, yeah, if you've never seen this movie, definitely check it out. This is a blast from my past. And actually, even though I didn't need to, because I've seen it 100 times, I watched it twice in the last probably month when I was gearing up to do this series. So it's just got so much replay factor to it. And it has a great soundtrack. It has Rod Stewart, Quarter Flash. Some of you might not remember Quarter Flash, but I'm sure you remember Rod Stewart. It has Al Jarreau. It has Van Halen with You Really Got Me. It's just a great, great 80s comedy. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.